Welcome back, Cristina.
Hi, welcome back, Rick.
So, welcome back to an episode of.
Inside Out
There we go,
podcast.
because that's your job. Because I can. Anyway, thank you for being here today. Last time, we talked about branding, but we didn't have enough time to get into a lot of the stuff that we got
I think we
through
were
social
like
media.
bullet one in your list.
No, we talked a lot about our experience and things like that. I think it was valuable, but there's a bunch of bullets that we want to get to, but also some questions that we received from some people. So thank you again for being patient. I know it has been a little bit over 3.5 weeks since our last podcast, but hopefully this will be a little bit more specific. Now, last time, my trusty little piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, she hates it. She hates it when I have like a lot of writing. Okay. So last time we talked about some of the keys in for branding design firms. And the first one we talked about was a brand positioning.
Yeah, and
Uh,
and understanding who you are first.
Right, but that's a part of the branding positioning. So
Right.
the 3 points we have here, and then you could talk a little bit about them again. Basically, is you have to identify what sets you apart as an individual, and then that obviously will help you identify and understand what sets you apart as a company. And number two, what is your target audience? Who your clients are going to be, and then three, make sure you understand what your core values are, and define a firm or a company philosophy.
Mhm.
So we talked about many examples and the importance of really, being intentional and looking within to try to understand what you love and what you don't love and what you're good at and what you're not good at. We talked about the Johari window also. And once you do that, it allows you to have a foundation for what you as a company potentially are and who also you want to be aspirationally or who you want to become, right?
Yep.
But you mentioned the looking within, and
Yeah,
yeah.
just that in order to position yourself, it's important to first understand who you are in order to define how you want to be positioned.
And be genuine.
Yes.
Because one
Be
thing we've
yourself.
learned is that people could identify a mile away if you're full of it. I think that today more than ever.
Absolutely. But you know what? Life is too short anyway.
Yeah.
I just be yourself and find people who, kindred like-minded people, kindred spirits. I think people should attract people that
Well, if you
they want
whoever
to
you,
work with.
yeah, I mean, I have a friend of mine that uh, early on when he was in the dating process, he would always complain that a lot of the people that he or she would be dating, it wasn't great people. And and for whatever reason, I asked him or her, I just want to be careful, um who this friend is. Well, the problem is that you're choosing wrong. I mean, you're not choosing people that value what you value. So what are you doing? I mean, you always talk about going to first dates and just faking it and not being honest on the first date. How long are you going to keep this charade? At some point, people are going to find out that you're not a James Bond spy. So um, just be who you are, and whoever wants to date you, they'll choose to do that because they value you instead of valuing things that you think they value but you don't value. So it's so complicated. I mean, I'm just trying to say this story and I'm already exhausted.
I
So
agree. I had a similar experience actually
yeah,
when I was in my college years.
you wanted to be a spy.
No, no, no.
Oh,
I dated someone that pretended to be everything that I was looking for, except they weren't.
you mean like Runaway
But
Bride type
they,
thing?
no, no, they were pretending. They were saying what they thought I wanted to hear.
Oh,
But then,
just like me
how long
20
can you
years later.
how long can you keep that up? You can't
I
keep up
kept it for 20 years.
the charade for
I,
long.
I
And
have.
actually, Yeah. I actually, a friend of his eventually felt so bad because he wasn't being authentic, that his friend was like, you know, Cristina, like you deserve better. He's just pretending to be what you want, but he's not.
Oh,
So yeah.
was he talking about me? Because I've
No,
kept
he
it
was not.
for
You
20
were
years.
not in the picture, baby.
Wow. Yeah. So
You
I just
weren't.
want to tell you now
But yes, don't
in
waste.
front of everyone.
Okay, don't waste either in your dating life or in your company life. Don't waste other people's time. Just be yourself. Attract the right clients. Attract the right talent. Just be unapologetically you. Someone out there is going to value that, and that's the people you want to work with. So
Yeah. And well, that's the people you also want to be around.
totally,
So,
yes. Don't
okay,
be afraid.
don't be afraid. Right. Well, by the way, we talked about fear last time, and a lot of that comes out of fear.
Mhm.
Fear of being accepted, fear of being loved. I
Fear
mean,
of being
there's,
alone and never
oh,
getting married.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
lots of
Um,
fears.
that's actually, I used to say that is this a lot, but the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear. Obviously, someone smarter or very smart said that. It wasn't me, that was Machiavelli. He said, and we can agree, that if you hate someone, it's because you care. So that is not the opposite of love. But when you are afraid of something, it limits the capacity of you to love someone. If you're afraid of not calling that person because they're not gonna reciprocate, reciprocate, well, you might never find out if the person loves you or not. If you're afraid of calling or sending that resume for an interview, well, they're never gonna hire me anyway. Well, how do you know? So fear is it could really freeze the opportunity of of you to actually have potential happiness in general. So
Limiting
yeah,
beliefs.
and I live in fear because I want to be accepted by my wife. So okay, let's stop my dad jokes. If my kids will be here, they'll say that all horrible dad jokes. Okay, so we talked about first defining who your brand is and your
Mm-hmm.
positioning, and
Yeah.
we talked about the three elements that they should be looking at. After you do that, the next thing should be develop a brand identity, which includes developing some visuals, including
Mm-hmm.
logos and so forth. Um, Identify maybe what your message is,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe a tagline, even
Mm-hmm.
if it's cheesy, even if you're not going to use it, but just for you to simplify what you wanna basically attract.
Yeah.
And then finally, after you have a logo and some visuals, and then you have that messaging very well developed, that's when you have content to develop a portfolio and a website.
Mm-hmm.
Don't jump into a website with a logo and no content. Don't assume that people do not read the websites. Yes, it's true that if you're a designer like we are, graphics are extremely important, but words matter too.
Copy.
and
Yeah.
and the
Copy is
wo-
huge.
and the copy you put in and the content might make or break you, because if it's very generic content, I mean, your visuals could be amazing, but you feel like, what what defines these people, what makes them unique, and what makes them who they are. uh,
And I think it's Dan Miller who I believe that who wrote of brand storytelling, I believe. But basically, when you do that website, you want it to be, the person who's going to go into this website, what's in it for them?
mhm.
Everybody wants to be the hero of their own
Story.
life
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
right? And so, how can you position yourself, your company, as the facilitator to make them the hero, right? So,
Correct.
what can you provide? What pain point can you solve for them so that they can be the hero of their
Well, you
movie?
said the next one,
Hmm.
which is storytelling.
Oh, okay.
So
So I
this is
got
a,
ahead.
yeah, no, I think it's perfect because you have to have a consistent story.
Hmm.
And I think if you're a designer, um in a way, it's not only about the design itself, it's also the story you want to portray, and the backstory about the design. So in the same way you do it for your clients, and you have a story to tell when you're developing that lobby for that bespoke hotel, or and then you have a brand that comes out of it, well, you should make sure you do the same and create a story that's compelling. Actually, I think it was Saturday. We went to a restaurant that we never heard of, and we just tried it,
Mhm.
and it was okay. I'm not gonna say the name. It was okay,
Mhm.
but what was compelling was their backstory.
Mhm.
Where in the menu they had a story
How
of
they
their
got
restaurant, how they
started.
got started, what was there before,
Mhm.
and we're talking about 200 years of story,
Mhm.
and it gave the place some character
Mhm.
by us only being able to understand the backstory. And the food was okay, the ambience was okay, but what's memorable was the actual story.
I agree.
So the same thing
100%.
happens when you're going to do content for your website, for your even your logo, anything. Just just make sure that the logo wasn't done by one entity and then the story was developed by someone else. Everything has to be cohesive and everything has to connect. Um, so if you define your positioning, you have a clear brand identity, and then you have consistent storytelling. Now you have the great bones
Yeah.
to develop a successful brand.
And let me go back a little to the brand identity because I think oftentimes we don't spend as much time there for some reason, and I think that it's
You mean us
no.
in general?
Just I think in general.
Okay.
So, for example, I know I've had this situation with clients where they don't necessarily, for whatever reason, see the value in spending time in that brand identity. Usually, the brand identity, the deliverable is like a brand book.
Hmm.
And the brand book has everything from the logo, yes, but it also has the color palette. So brands have a color palette and a defined font that you use. And if these things are consistent throughout, so like this, you use your same font in your website, in your emails, in your business
Proposals.
cards, in your proposals, in your letterhead, in your I have those little note cards from the
Yeah.
desk of Cristina Villalón. If all of that just strengthens the brand, and so in our case, we
And
have
it could
this,
be
we
very
call
subtle.
this, yeah, no, we call this ADV green.
That's a color that we
and
basically created.
and
Uh,
and yeah, ADV green is throughout everything, throughout our office space, throughout our branding materials. We have our accent color that we use as accents intentionally. And
and we have it defined in a booklet called the ADV Way, which has everything.
it has everything. And that
Yeah.
brand book basically is kind of a guide. Like
Becomes a Bible of your firm.
yeah, actually hotel brands do this
Yeah.
too. They have like a
Well, many of the ideas we even brought to our
yeah,
brand book came from us working with hospitality brands,
yeah, it's
which is
great.
quite amazing.
It's awesome because it's like it's called the brand guidelines,
Mhm.
and those guidelines. I mean, it's a complete story. There's a story behind all of it, but it also tells you every single guideline for every single thing and every situation. So,
And it takes you,
mhm.
by the way, to the next point, which is social media
ah, mhm.
and digital presence.
Yeah,
Because if you have that, like you said, and I
mhm.
think I interrupted and I
It's okay.
apologize. Well, you're used to it, right?
Every day.
Every day. Mansplaining. What happens is that you can continue that. One thing
Mhm.
we did actually in our office, and you guys can do it, is that my lettering
Mhm.
was actually used as part of a new font that was created.
Yeah.
Because forever we wanna make sure that the drawings, the writing, everything comes out from the same place. So even
Letterhead,
letter,
like your lettering.
my lettering
Yeah.
was created as a ADV font.
Mhm.
So I mean, there's many fun things you can do, and nowadays
Mhm.
it's a lot more easy, much more easier
Mhm.
than before. But then let's get to social media and digital presence,
Mhm.
because now you have a story, right?
Yeah.
But one thing we've learned is that storytelling the traditional way, which I even include websites and things like that, are fairly traditional.
Mhm.
But now, how do you present that story to the world in snippets, very quickly? And what kind of culture as a company do you want to showcase too? Which is also part of your branding. So, one thing we didn't talk about, and maybe next time we should talk about business culture,
Mhm.
which is in our core. a very important element in who we've become.
Yeah.
Um, Now it becomes emotional. So you need to showcase not only what services you do, which you can do, but also the experience that you're gonna get by us providing those services to you. And I think it goes back to the hospitality comment you said. I think if you look in the 1950s and 60s, Hilton would say, "Hey, I want to make sure that if I eat this hamburger here in Boca de Raton, and I eat a hamburger in Baltimore, that it feels
The
and it
same.
tastes the same everywhere." The
Yeah.
world has changed completely when it comes to that. Actually, now it's the opposite. You want to make sure you have a hamburger in Baltimore that feels that you were in Baltimore,
Yeah.
and that if
Well,
you
back
are in
then, I
the
think
yeah,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
what they were selling was brand consistency. You
right,
can rely on Hilton, and you're gonna have the
right,
best hamburger, the same one, whether you're in Baltimore or whether you're
correct.
in Boca Raton. What did you say
I think
first?
I said Boca Raton.
I
I don't know
can't
why.
remember. But anyway,
By the way,
same
if you're from Boca Raton, I don't like Boca Raton. I'm just
same
saying it.
same burger anywhere you
Okay.
go. But nowadays, you're right. It's exactly the opposite. Now you're selling unique experiences, and so if we bring that back to branding,
That's
what makes you unique?
unique, and
And
that's the point. It's about, if instead of consistency, now you're
mm-hmm,
looking for storytelling and uniqueness. So
yes,
what makes you different than everyone else? And by the way, there's some concern for me when people ask you that question, what makes you different? It's not really about what makes you different, putting other people down, that they're not up to you. No, 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 no. It's just a way of forcing you to try to identify what is your uniqueness. Everyone is different. No one is the same. And by the way, everyone's special in their uniqueness. Embrace it. And don't try to embrace your uniqueness by saying that others are not like you. I mean that so that helps you kind of forget your competitor for a minute. And then what is it that you as a firm, as a company, makes you unique and special?
it's funny because we have teenagers.
We do.
We have three
We have three.
teenagers, and when you're a teenager, life is all about fitting in and just being exactly like all your friends, right? So you see all the teenage girls; they all have the same outfits on. They wear the same makeup. And they do
Or they're
the same
different
things,
for the sake of being different.
right?
So those are the two extremes, but
But
none of them are unique.
right, but usually they try and stick with the group, right?
Correct.
When you grow up, you realize you actually want to embrace your uniqueness because that's actually what's going to set you apart from everybody else. And especially in a business, you absolutely want to set yourself apart from everyone else. But it doesn't have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be that you're putting other people down and because you're better or whatnot. It's just that you may have a certain way of, like, a particular process that you do things in a certain way that's different from your competitors, or a different pricing structure
Mhm.
that's different from your competitors, or
And by the way,
you name it.
and that requires research. Again, to my point, not because you want to put other people down. Oh, I do it better than them. No, no, no. It's just that you have to understand what your market is, and by researching your market and who your potential competitors are, what that does for you is actually do a couple things. And I'll give one quick example, if I may.
Sure.
Um, when we're doing this process again in 2015, we were trying to identify what is it that we loved and what is it that we want to do, right? And we realized that we loved doing multifamily
Mm-hmm.
work. We love doing hospitality. I love educational. So those are
Mm-hmm.
things that we loved. Um, Now, instead of actually trying to be everything to everyone, which we talked about in the last podcast, um, well, what if we just focus on those three things and be the best, not good, be outstanding at them?
Mm-hmm.
Because if we want to compete and be the best at something. The reality is that we can't be one of those big firms that invoice $1 billion a year, and they might be great at everything, but they have 25,000 employees. We have 50. So what is it that we're great at? The same thing, actually, the same strategy that Apple had for years.
Right.
Instead of having 2,000, products, let's just focus on some and make them the best products possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we chose 3. We talked about them, right?
Yeah.
And by doing that, we started to be intentional about the kind of clients we want to potentially work for. But we didn't have hotels. We
Mm-hmm.
just love doing them.
Yeah.
But we didn't have them. So we figured, okay, we have to start from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
But at least this time around, instead of actually saying yes to everyone, we were able to be intentional and
Yeah.
say, okay, who are the best companies to work with and for? Now you're able to actually dissect and identify 20 companies instead of 2,000 because you're everything to everyone.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So once you do that, and that's it talks here about client centric approach, and we talked about it a little better before. But basically, identifying what kind of clients, and then once you identify them, now you know that those are the people aspirationally you want to work with and for. But I want to go back to social media for a sec, if I may, because there are 3 points that are here that again are some people might find it common, but the 3 areas that we see a lot of use is Instagram, LinkedIn, and some Pinterest. Right now, I will say that Facebook has become a little different. Facebook is something that, or Meta, whatever you want to call it, my parents, use. Let's go back. Social media and digital presence. So it's basically Instagram, LinkedIn, and some Pinterest. Use YouTube, like we're doing now, Spotify, TikTok, and then going back to what we talked about, culture, which is engage with the community and try to showcase what is your culture.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason I think that Instagram is so important, especially in our field, in architecture and design, is because it's a visual medium.
Yeah.
And so you showcase
can
your
you hear?
projects.
That's our awesome dog. I don't know if you can hear.
That's our show.
Yeah.
So it's a visual medium, and it allows for, people want to see what you do. So you can showcase your portfolio.
Yeah.
You can also video is great right now. Because
animations, video.
I think it goes
more experiential.
It also goes back to people wanting to know who you are. I think,
and identifying what is the best way to showcase who you are.
Particularly this younger generation, that digital natives, that they grew up with this. They were born, they don't know of a life without this. There's 2 things with them. First of all, that's where they get all their information. So you need to be on there. Right. So whether you like it or not, you got to be on there. But also they are looking for authenticity. Going back to the branding, and they can smell
and you have
BS
to be consistent
a mile away.
And I know it takes time, and this happens often. I don't have time to do any of this because I'm an architect and I'm an interior designer and I'm designing. Well, that's fine, but that's only part of what you need to do, because you do need to brand yourself, because you can't only live on a project by project system. I have a good friend of mine who always says that the best time to look for work is when you have work, because now you are able to showcase what you're doing.
Not only that,
and be
you're
confident
you're
about
not
it.
fearful that, oh my God, I have to take the next project. The next person who calls, I need to take that project because I don't have any work.
You take the right project instead of any project.
Exactly.
So, and you have to be consistent. You can't say, I'm going to do a podcast and then just do one and that's it. No consistency. You can't basically say, hey, I'm going to open my Instagram page and put one picture. And then 3 years later is the same picture.
That's my Instagram account right now. My personal one. My personal one. I think my last post was New Year's 2021.
I don't post to Instagram, so I'm not that guy. But the company does.
Yes.
Smart people that we have around. Ariela, which is amazing. And she's sitting behind this camera. But, you have to have a consistent message. All the time, if it's through emails, if it's through blogs.
Oh, tone. Yeah. Tone is very important.
Yeah.
What is your tone? What is your how you write your copy should be consistent throughout, because you have a brand personality, and you want that brand personality to come across consistently all the time.
I, they call it here a branded experience.
Hmm.
So you go beyond that, to your point. So like I said, it's not only doing a logo, like it's 1980 and you have a hairband and you want to draw your own logo because you're going to be the next, I don't know, Def Leppard or something. Um, Now let's be more specific about architecture and interior design,
Hmm.
because I think that some of the things that we're going to recommend, this is something that is not necessarily in the list, but something that we believe strongly that you guys need to know and do it and be out there, is becoming a thought leader, is becoming an expert in something. If you focus on residential design and your focus is sustainability in residential design, become the expert on that and make sure that you get invited to be a speaker. Because once you become a speaker anywhere, people assume that you're an expert at something. And putting yourself out there, being able to actually showcase now your vision, which is your philosophy, your values, and your brand,
Hmm.
allows you to develop a brand as a thought leader.
Yeah, personal
Uh,
branding. I mean, you're seeing a lot of personal branding right now on LinkedIn, for example, and people who you become. All it means is being known, getting known for something, whatever your expertise is. Just for people
just make sure
to think
you
about.
become known for something of value,
Yes, please,
please.
something of value,
That
please.
that's because I'm old, but I don't know if I want to become known for
I know where you're
jumping
going.
jacks. That's awesome. That doesn't work for your architecture and interior design firm. They might invite you to people who do stupid tricks, but hey, you're not gonna get another job on that. But yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, the truth is that you have to understand that your company is an extension of you, but also be clear that becoming a thought leader or having people in your company that you could push for them to become thought leaders absolutely helps you with your brand. Now, let's talk about design awards and competitions, because that's something that is brought up often. I personally, and you might not want to listen to this, I am not necessarily one of those guys that are all gung ho about competitions. And the reason is very simple. I've never hired a law firm by asking them to do law work for free and then find out of the three firms that I asked them, which one is better. I mean, I don't understand that. How come people feel comfortable asking architecture and interior designers to design for free and then have a competition between three or four firms to see which one is better? I don't get that. I think that's, first of all, that's, you're asking for free work, which we never do.
It's also flawed. The
Yeah.
process is flawed because
You're hiring someone based on potential design talent, but you cannot do a real thorough understanding of design if you're just doing a competition for 2 weeks.
yeah,
It doesn't make any
exactly.
sense.
They're basically selling you frosting and a pretty picture,
But you're not
but
tasting the cake.
yeah, but are you understanding? The complexities of the operation. Is the solution, is the design solution providing value? And so that's why I said it's a flawed
Yeah.
exercise. Unfortunately, it is still common in the industry, and you see it. But I agree with you. I don't believe in competitions.
I don't believe in
And
competitions, and they should. And by the way, if a
I think they
competition,
should be banned.
I, I,
Honestly.
I, well, let me put it like this: unless they pay
Hmm.
every single person or company that offers a proposal, I don't think it's. I'm not sure if I should say this, but slavery is over,
Yeah,
and
agreed.
that is an act of slavery. You're putting people in very difficult positions to ask them to do free work, and then, in a way, putting them in a place of failure. Uh,
Well, we read the AIA convention once, and we saw a movie called The Competition.
oh, that
And
was
that's exactly what happened. You had all these huge firms competing for the possibility of this huge project, I think in Spain.
yeah.
And in the end, there was a change of government, and none of the companies won. And all of the companies invested hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But guess,
of the architecture
I
firms.
know, but guess who can do that? The people, the
The
firms
big
that are
firms.
big.
Yeah.
And this is where it's also flawed, because if you're an up and comer, you think, hey, I'll do it because that way my name will be included next to the big names. Yeah, but you're spending money and energy on something. It's like playing the lotto.
Yeah.
It's like going to Vegas. You might win
Roulette.
the roulette, well,
Yeah.
roulette or
Playing roulette.
anything.
Yeah.
Uh, if I put it on red or blue, or black, I'm gonna win. I think that is not necessarily a great branding strategy. And if you continue to lose competitions, what happens is that you're as a brand, people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, they keep losing." So that doesn't. There's no way to win. So we don't believe in competitions. I do believe that you can submit for awards, and you could put yourself in a place of success. Now, awards give you validation. Being on a magazine gives you validation, but it does not get you work.
Yeah.
So make sure you identify where you want to submit your awards. And if, for example, if you are looking to put your firm in a place of potential success, look at awards for from organizations that are focused on client um, or developers. Why? Because if you, again, listen, we've been lucky enough to have gotten awards from the AIA. I am personally a fellow from the AIA. But if you win an award from the AIA, the only people that find out about it are architects. They're not your potential clients.
Yeah.
They're your competition. So instead of trying to impress your competition, you should be focused. If you have this amount of energy only, you should try to spend it on an area where you have the potential to meeting those clients. And if you win an award, for example, for the Urban Land Institute, which is organization that includes from architects to developers to lawyers to everyone involved in the industry. Well, now if you win, now that helps your brand for potential clients instead of again your potential competition. So you have to be surgical, you have to be specific, and you have to be intentional because branding takes time. So if you're gonna spend energy on something that it's not gonna get you money right away, like designing a project, well, be intentional and be careful not to be everything to everyone, and not to try to be generic about who you are, and not be anything but yourself. And that would actually lead to a much more complete branding experience. So again,
Agreed.
if we can go through them, can I?
Yes, you can go through your list, baby.
I
Go
appreciate it.
ahead.
So,
Mhm.
number one, define your brand positioning. Number two, develop a clear brand identity. Develop a consistent method of storytelling. Become a thought leader. Um, Understand social media and the importance of digital presence.
Mhm.
Um, eh, Use public relations and awards consistently and smartly.
Mhm.
And finally, unify all that so you can have a complete unified branded experience. That is a starting point for you to be able to actually answer the question, what are the keys of branding design firms?
Awesome.
So it took two
2 episodes, but we got
episodes.
through it.
We got through it.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, if you have questions, if you have something to add, if you feel that we missed out on something, or you have specific stories you want to tell us,
Please reach out.
reach out, and then we'll talk about them. Because what we do is that we talk about our experience and what we've learned in the industry for many years, but that doesn't mean that we have all the answers. So
So thank you for joining us
thank you so
today.
much.
And remember, transformation begins from the inside out. See you next time.